Alcoholism is it's a funny thing because you don't realize you are one until quite a bit of time goes by. Um, I'm not one to regret. I mean, what's behind you is behind you. In fact, need to make the best use of it. Uh, but 38 years of my life flew by, and a lot of it I don't remember. Um, I probably started drinking heavily, intermittently when I was 14 years old. And I think back then I did it just to be accepted. A lot of the guys in the neighborhood, that's what they did. And I kind of just grouped up with them. In fact, I'd say a lot of them probably spent a good portion of their life as alcoholics. Um, I've stayed in touch with a couple of them. And they always express, "Oh yeah, I'm going to stop drinking one of these days." Yeah. Anyway, it's been almost 12 years since I've stopped. Um, and I kind of traced it back, how did this thing start? Well, like I said, when I was real young, it was to probably just be accepted. Then it morphed into, getting a little older, it morphed into, it gives you the courage for different things, just anything you think you might need courage for, it helps. What's funny is I can do any of those things now and not think twice about it, and I don't drink. So I guess, probably didn't really need it, but I thought I did. It, you know, um, and then it morphs into, just having a good time. Uh, you think the only way you can have a good time is when you're drinking. That's the only way it's possible. That phase probably lasted more years than any other. Um, and then towards the end, you kind of do it for function, because you start realizing uh, you're not 100% without it, and that's when you got problems. And the funny thing is I always worked, always had a place, always managed to take care of things. And I won't say I did it without, getting in trouble, because I got in trouble several times, usually little stuff, but through the years, pretty much just, made it without, ended up in prison. And I've always said, I bet there's a lot of guys in prison that don't even remember what they did. And that could easily happen to me. And I know other people it could easily happen to. Because it only takes one bad mistake to get yourself in a lot of trouble. And to that, I'm extremely lucky. In any case, it's just, you go through these years and you're thinking, there does come a transition where you start realizing, yeah, it's a problem. But it takes a long time to reach that point. And then it seems like it takes another good piece of time before you just decide to quit. Uh, I know a lot of people go to AA, this and that, and I don't think any of that does anybody any good unless they're ready. That you can try this, try that, but until in your head you're ready to stop, you're never gonna. Hence the relapses that many people have. Me, I reached a point where I basically just completely didn't enjoy it anymore. Not to mention, it was just got so uncomfortable. Some of the things I did, some of the things that happened because of drinking. my health, just a number of things. It just, I just couldn't take it anymore. I just pretty much just stopped and never looked back. And I can sit in a bar right now and I don't even think about it. It doesn't even cross my mind. It's not like I struggle to not drink. I'm never gonna. I mean, I just don't have any desire to go through that again. And I have a good time. That's the funny thing is like all these years that I spent thinking that I couldn't have a good time without it. I think all I did was stunt my emotional growth because I do believe that while you're living that life, and that goes for any addiction, um, I think you're emotionally not evolving. Um, I think it stunts emotional growth. Not to mention, physical damage it does. It's funny because through all those years of drinking, I did exercise quite a bit. Um, so somehow I kept from completely falling to pieces physically. But I will say I did get way overweight, which I lost a good portion of that. Um, but I'm sure there's still physical damage that'll never completely repair itself. Um, anyway, I made this video for anyone that wonders where time goes when you're drinking because most of it you don't remember, and then all of a sudden all these years go by and you were, I mean, it just, you're in a cloud, you're in a fog. So, a lot of it you don't remember. And the funny thing is, I had full-time jobs, everything else. I functioned just, nobody, unless I told them, knew I was a drunk, unless they hung around with me on the weekend when I was a drunk. Uh, and I know a lot of people think, oh, well, how you're not an alcoholic if you just drank on weekends. And well, yeah, if you drank like I did on weekends, you're a damned alcoholic. Um, I pretty much spent from Friday night to Sunday night annihilated. I mean, not, like laying in the dirt, but pretty much just, drinking the entire time other than, a couple naps in between. Uh, but, like I said, you can't regret. You just, you move on and, there's people that wreck their lives a lot worse than that. Like I said, guys end up in prison, do really terrible things and probably wouldn't have. Uh, I'm one of the lucky ones. I made it. And like I said, it's been almost 12 years. And I have to admit, things are a lot easier and better now. Had I known this, that things would be as easy as they are not drinking, I probably never would have, or at least never would have for 38 years. Uh, but I think that stems to, you know, the way I was as a kid. I didn't have a whole lot of belief in myself, a whole lot of confidence. So that that kind of got me kicked off on the road to alcoholism. Um, anyway, I hope this helps anybody that may have a drinking problem that wants to quit, and maybe it'll give them that one extra little shove in the right direction. Thanks for listening.